Welcome back. Living here in Park City, specifically in Old Town Park City, we have had a change with our local laws that have had an impact on the way we experience our days, the way we experience our grocery shopping trips. But it's all for the good, of course, here in Park City. We have a great connection to love and respect for, and a sense of responsibility to our environment. And as a result of that, you can't have plastic bags at the grocery stores anymore. And of course, this will just be one of many changes that are to come. But with paper bags, they charge at the A-Fresh and some of the other markets here in town. And next up, I am going to be visiting with a fellow who is now a Park City local. One of those things that's a lovely thing to be able to say. I live here year-round, and I absolutely love the concept for this company, and especially the name. This is, as it says right there, from Park City, Utah, a 100% compostable shopping bag for you from Peter Murray and Stardust. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming.
It's great to be here.
So you're making compostable bags,
yes.
But I think the first thing that I want to say, and we'll reinforce this, is that even though this is compostable, it's a durable bag. This is a bag that you can carry heavy stuff in back from the grocery store, etc.
Yeah, one of our primary goals was to make a bag that was reusable for many years. We think this bag will probably last 3, 5, maybe 10 years or longer. And but at whatever point you're done with it or wears out, you can literally throw it in the compost pile, bury it in the garden. And I was doing some testing this summer.
Oh, great.
and we found that within 3 months, it was totally disintegrated, absolutely nothing left of it. Truly returned back to the garden.
Wow. In a short period of time.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that there could probably be, I'm certainly not the person to be quoted about gardening tips, but I imagine that there could be some ways that you could use this for planting, like a root ball, a small tree or something like that. And
I think you probably could, yeah. As a matter of fact, that was one of our experiments. Is we did fill the bags with soil and then planted grass and wildflowers and things like that in them, and grew them that way all summer as well.
Fantastic. And tell me about the name Stardust. It certainly evokes images.
Yeah, well, it really it kind of came from Joni Mitchell's song Woodstock. And she says, we are stardust, we are golden, we are billion-year-old carbon, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. And so that song always resonated with me. It was kind of an anthem for our generation, really.
Sure.
And a lot of this back to the earth movement. And so that really, it really struck me as a great name for a product that literally returns back to the garden when you're done with it.
Indeed, and you've got the great Joni Mitchell as an inspiration, certainly one of the legendary songwriters of all time. Mm-hmm. So I'll think of her every time I think of Stardust from now on. That's super awesome. Talk about what the construction of this is, because obviously if it will biodegrade in 90 days, it's pretty close to a natural material, but obviously if it's going to last for 2 years, let alone 5 or more, it's got to be pretty solid as well. Talk about how you came up with the formula for making the bag and the fabric.
Okay, well, I actually have a degree in horticulture, and my first degree was running a landscape architecture firm in the DC market. And it was a great career, very fulfilling. But with the second career, I wanted to do something that was going to be a little bit more beneficial for the community and maybe significant for the planet as well. And so it actually all started with my son, Matt, and his girlfriend, Nora, who were working in Indonesia. And they just saw this massive plastic issue. Plastic on the beaches, some beautiful beaches that were just covered in deep plastic, and plastic bags were a big contributor to that.
And the gyres in the ocean, I mean, they're miles wide.
Yeah.
Really disgusting.
Yeah, and one of the things they noticed was some of the local people were carrying bags made out of woven palm leaves or bamboo or some natural product. And so when they came back, they were talking about the problem, they were talking about some possible solutions. And so then I started looking at, well, what are some natural fibers that could be used? And one that I was familiar with is called Corchorus, and it grows only in Bangladesh and India. And it's a very strong fibered plant, and it's been around forever though. It's been around for thousands of years. The Egyptians were even using it. And it's the fiber from the plant they make jute from, and then jute is essentially a rope. When jute is woven together, it makes the fabric of burlap. So everybody's familiar with burlap. Sure. And so that was one of our first tries, is essentially a burlap bag. And one of the things that we ran into though was that, of course, burlap is a very coarse material, and it sheds fibers.
Yes.
And so, you know, it was too messy. But the plant had so many redeeming qualities to it because it doesn't require any pesticides, no fertilizer.
Oh, interesting.
It only relies on natural rainfall. So it's really one of the most sustainable crops on Earth.
Interesting. No irrigation needed.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we really felt like, or I felt like that was the plant that we had to work with. And so we started working with some manufacturers, and we said, can you do a tighter spin on the thread so it's not so loose? And then can you make a little bit tighter weave pattern on the fabric? And we added just a little bit of cotton, and this is what we ended up with. It's a beautiful bag. It's extremely strong, and but it's 100% natural fiber, so it decomposes very quickly when you're done with it. But this quartz is one of the strongest fibers on Earth, so it's a very durable bag.
That's really interesting. It does have a little bit of the hand feel of burlap, but it is much smoother, and you can tell that it's a tighter weave, which of course when you're hauling laundry detergent or any kind of weighty material from the grocery store or elsewhere, you certainly want something that's going to hold its form. And so did you experiment then a number of times over as far as your construction method, your design, the actual design of the bag? Because I mean, it looks pretty standard, but then again, once you get into any project like this, you find little details that you wouldn't have known. Was this iterative process?
Yeah, we did a lot of samples. We started getting samples back in June, and we're getting them from suppliers all over the world. And we were trying different size bags, and we're trying to find a bag. What we ended up doing was I would take them to the grocery store, and we'd fill them with different size boxes, and took them to the liquor store, filled them with wine bottles, really testing them for weight. So we found a bag that is just the right dimension so that you can put all kinds of cereal boxes in there and jars and things. And then we also reinforced the handles, did a double stitch on the seams. So maybe did a little bit of overkill on the strength, but we wanted it to last a long time. And we also tried a lot of different fabrics. We tried straight cotton, and actually we do have one bag here that is straight cotton.
Oh, no kidding.
And some of our early trials, some of the people preferred the cotton. So we did our first run. We did some cotton bags, but we were also trying bamboo. We were looking into hemp. We were looking into all these different fibers, and surprisingly, we thought bamboo would be one of our top contenders because it's such a strong fiber and it's very sustainable. But to make the thread or the fiber from bamboo, it really weakens it. And so those bags actually were very weak.
Oh, interesting.
I would do a strength test with all of them, and it was one that just would not stand up to the strength test.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's interesting that you take something that has a very high natural tensile strength, although it's kind of linear. But even so, bamboo is so very strong for weight in its natural state, but then when you process it, it changes. Interesting. Yeah. So where do you go from here? You've got great bags that proudly say Park City, Utah right there, so we can all get behind using these for our shopping trips, etc. Are you, the world is changing in a positive way with respect to the business side of this, that right here we are in Park City where the grocery stores can't use plastic bags anymore. Are those changes, is that happening in municipalities across the United States?
Yeah, it's starting to happen, and it's actually starting to pick up steam. And so what we're trying to do is get these out there now, because one of the issues here, let me show you these other bags. Of course, everybody's familiar with these bags, the single-use bags. They are recyclable, but unfortunately, most people don't. No. I think there's only like 1 or 2% of people who actually recycle these, or 1 or 2% of all the bags get recycled. The crazy thing is, by this time tomorrow morning, there will be 3 billion more of these bags made worldwide every single day.
Wow.
And so even if people were recycling them, they couldn't be recycled fast enough to keep up with how fast they're being produced. So that's the one problem. And so, you know, a lot of people have gone to this other bag here, and so something very similar, and it is reusable. And from my experience, these last probably about a couple years, and then they start to fall apart. And if you look at them, they've got the recycling symbol on them. They say sustainable. They say love. You know, so it makes it
The
feel
marketing is on point.
very good marketing. The thing is, a lot of these are made from recycled materials, but they can't be recycled at the end of their life. Even just to clarify, I took this down to the recycling center here in Park City, where they recycle everything.
Yes.
And they said, no, these are not recyclable because they're made out of mixed materials. And almost all of these are made out of mixed materials. So that means 100% of these are going to end up in the dump someday. So that's
crazy.
That's why we are trying to get our bag into some of these new markets before this takes too much of a hold.
Sure.
Because that's going to be a problem. So we want to keep those out of the whole system if we can.
You need to, Stardust is a great start. You need to have some more high-value marketing words on your bag.
Right.
I'm laughing, but it's a rueful chuckle that it's mixed materials. You can't recycle it.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
Right.
Well, you're doing the good work and you're fighting the good fight. And let's talk about social media and where folks can get the bags, because in the end, that's the most important thing of our conversation.
Okay. The bags are for sale right now at the market here in Park City, and also at Cahoots, and also at Fairweather Natural Foods. And we are looking to expand. We'd like to get up on Main Street and then down into Heber, and then kind of expand from there. My son Matt and his girlfriend Nora are getting them established in the Front Range in Colorado, selling them there. And we just came onto Amazon this past week as well.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, thanks. But we want to encourage everybody to go to the local stores, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to say that Dan's and Cahoots and Fairweather are all spots that I make stops at in the course of my week, just living my life here in Park City. So great spots all, and I hope that you'll have tons more distribution. Of course, in the end, that's the thing, is to get as many bags in people's hands.
Yeah, and what we're finding is a lot of people are saying, well, I get these reusable plastic bags from different people who give them out as freebies.
Right.
And so that's one of our other things that we want to get into is we've already talked to the Chamber and the Convention Bureau, so that if they have a group that comes into town and they want to give something out in a bag, well, let's do it in a natural bag. They can take it back. It says Park City on it, so it becomes sort of a nice little thing to take home with them, and it eliminates a little bit more of this plastic.
And there's a story that people can tell when they take this bag back to Birmingham and they use it, and somebody says, oh, you went to Park City, and then leads into all of the great features of the bag.
Exactly.
Fantastic stuff. Peter, so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Thanks for having us on
Absolutely.
today.
Thank you for the work that you're doing. It really does happen one person and one idea at a time, and I'll be keeping an eye out for the Stardust bags all around Park City.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
All right, have a great day.
All right, you guys, make sure to get one. We'll do one more shot. You can get them at Dan's, 100% compostable, Stardust, great stuff, and of course, you're supporting local. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this. We're going to talk about vaping and the dangers thereof.